Hello, my friend, and welcome to April 13th. Today is Palm Sunday. For all of you going to church, which I'm not going to, but I wish I was because I used to love Palm Sunday as a kid. And taking a peek at my lovely Witch's Date book here, just to know that today your color is yellow. And for day 13, it says, this is not an unlucky day, no matter what pop culture tries to tell us. It's a day for hard work and tenacity. Family matters may be highlighted. So thank you, Witch's Date Book 2025. Actually, 13 is not a bad number. They tried to tell us that with the television shows, but it was actually because it was the phases of the moon. And, God forbid, the women always got the short end of the stick, right? So we have 13 cycles, moon cycles in a year. And that's why it was so very much hated. But anyway, let me introduce myself. I am Rachel from Guilty Crow Tarot, and we are going to do this video to make sure you have a good week, and we're going to bust through that anxiety. Let's see what brings us anxiety this week. We're going to use the Spellcaster's Tarot. We're going to use Earth Magic. We'll see what kind of animal spirits come up. And of course, the archetype cards, which I probably am always going to use now because I'm addicted. All right, let's jump right into this reading. All right, let's see what's coming in that's going to give us some anxiety this week. Let me make sure my camera's straight because it drives me nuts seeing the numbers, or the numbers, good Lord, the lines. Okay, so this week coming in, we are having some frustrations. We get the world in reverse. Things that you are so over and you're ready for them to be done just won't seem to finish. So we're having some anxiety about finishing those projects. I feel like, too, if you're having a little pain in your body and it's nagging and it won't go away, it's going to bring you some anxiety. Anything that is not ending is going to give you some angst this week. We also get the Three of Swords. Heartbreak, heartache, anything that's kind of tearing at you emotionally. But remember that this is a sword card, so this is all about thoughts and thinking. So even though it is heartbreak that's going to give you some anxiety, maybe you have a relationship that just won't seem to end. You guys just can't get over each other. I just can't quit you, but it's not bringing you anything good. Remember that the swords are all about thoughts, ideas, communication with people. So what are you saying that, might be causing your anxiety even more? What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to yourself about this situation not ending? What are you saying to other people that could be, sometimes we just can't shut up and we know we're not saying the right things and we're just saying mean stuff. So that could cause you some anxiety, knowing that you're just spewing. Then you think about it later on and you go, oh my God, did I really say that? So that you can definitely help this week. Now we get the Hierophant. If these all played nice together, and these are all the same situation here, with that Hierophant being in reverse, you're not getting the leadership that you need. You're not getting the things that you want in a normal way. This is how it goes. This is how we've always done it. That ritualistic, that repetitive feelings that bring you comfort. You could feel lost. You've lost your way. You've lost the person who used to guide you. You have to figure out those things on your own. The Hierophant can be all about social norms, what you think that people should be doing, how you think people should be acting. That could be bringing you some anxiety this week. But remember, you know, just because you think things should happen a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that the world should follow suit. We like to think that we're the center of the universe. Unfortunately, we are not. And that could be giving you some anxiety this week. Now, I just want to pull one of these little cards here too and just see what's one other thing. And we get Shaman, Ancient Healing Wisdom. So looking at this book and looking at the meanings of what shaman means, because how is this going to bring us some anxiety this week? Because it's actually a really beautiful card. This part keeps sticking out to me. The shaman's primary assignment is to discern and maintain the balance between what his human community takes from the natural world and what it gives back. When this relationship is out of balance, the shaman must do whatever is necessary to restore it. Balance equals healing. So feeling out of balance this week and being in the need of healing is going to be, one of our top priorities. Also, I like this part that says charged with the relieving suffering. Oh, I'm sorry, charged with relieving suffering as one of his priorities. The shaman does so by first always tending to the spiritual wound, the source of all illness. These healing powers have been passed along over the millennia from the ancient ones who knew the healing and curative powers of spirit. So that's interesting because, the spiritual wound, this Three of Swords is all about a wounding. So, whatever you're suffering from, and it's not going away as quickly as you would like it to, this will be difficult for you this week. But have hope, because the shaman is there to help you. Let's see a couple of things that will kind of bring us some healing this week. And interesting enough, we get the chariot in reverse. The chariot in reverse tells me that, you're unsure of where you're going. You're not sure what to do. You're definitely feeling at a loss, but you have to let that be okay. You have to allow that to be okay, that you're not sure what direction to go into. Now, it's funny because we get the lotus here, and I love that because that reminds me of healing. The healing will come. It's going to be slower than you anticipated. Whether this be physical or emotional or whatever it is, just know that it will eventually come, but not knowing how it's going to come is okay too. Maybe right now you're not supposed to know, and that's just got to be okay. Okay. Now we also get the Ace of Swords in reverse. This looks like a painful card, right? Again, that whole Ace of Swords is the not knowing, the not having any ideas. We think like, how the heck is this going to help us get through this week? But that's okay. You have to, maybe the lesson this week is not knowing. You have to make that okay. Not having all the answers, not being able to fix things for people or fix things for yourself. And remember that, your own thoughts could be breaking your own heart. Let's pull one more card here to look and see. Oh my God, this is crazy. And we get the Magician in reverse. So that's pretty interesting because the Magician is all about not making things happen, not being in control, not worrying about being in control. The thought, give it up to God, keeps coming into my head. Let go and let God, right? That's going to be more helpful to you this week. Whatever this situation is, it's going to be a slow healing, slowly to get better. Now, I know that might be giving you some anxiety just thinking about that, but giving yourself a break and letting yourself off the hook, that is going to be how you relieve your anxiety. Just letting go, right? Watch Frozen because those girls really know what they're talking about. There's also a really good book by David Hawkins, and it's called Letting Go. Wonderful book. Taught me so much, especially how to let go of the feelings that come up in your body, because then your head's always trying to explain to you why you feel the way you do. And sometimes it's just your body needs to let go of that energy. So remember that, and, think about that. Actually kind of makes sense, especially here with that shaman card and stuff. How is some of this going to turn out? We get the Page of Cups in reverse. It's time to start pouring that cup into yourself. Start small, do some internal work, emotional work. Because remember, thoughts and emotions go hand in hand, right? So I feel like you're going to have a bit of a disappointment. The things that you were hoping were going to start maybe aren't going as quickly as you want. I also feel like maybe that child of your heart, the one that you love, might not be cooperating this week, if it has anything to do with that there. We also get the Star in reverse. Again, the things that you were hoping for, maybe not turning out this week. I know that I'm hoping for 70-degree weather, and I can guarantee that's not happening this week. But we also get the King of Wands. So even though you're going to be feeling very out of control, know that the King of Wands is showing me that you are essentially in control. Also, this could be help from somebody. possibly a gentleman who is very good at what he does. He's very passionate and he could, possibly help you out. Could it be a woman? Yep. Somebody who's really passionate, who's a master in their field. They could come help, with this situation. Is this a doctor? Maybe. Who knows if you have something physical going on. Let's just pull one more card here. That's so funny because I just did the full moon reading and this says full moon completion. So knowing that this world in reverse is showing that, you're upset because things aren't completing, just know that with this full moon card here, completion, it is going to end. Things will stop, whatever's bothering you this week. Towards the end of the week, that energy starts to move out. And then remember with the full moon, again, we want to let go of things. We don't want to hang on to it, especially thinking back to that 3 of Swords where, are you hanging on to the issues? Are you hanging on to that energy? You don't want to do that. The full moons make sure, you let that stuff go. Don't hang on to it. It's not going to be worth it. This might be a tough week. Let's look at some of the archetypes that we might encounter or become. And we get Avenger. So we get it upright though. An Avenger says, desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. So it's pretty interesting because the Hierophant's in reverse there. And not that the Hierophant is the justice card, but it always kind of leads me to that person who's telling you right from wrong, how we do things, what society says is normal and what society says is okay. And so you might come across an Avenger this week, or you might become one. So it's great to desire to balance the scales of justice. That's great. And righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. If you have to stick up for yourself, go ahead and do that. The only thing that bothers me sometimes, the righteous people that all they do is like tell you how wonderful they are and all the wonderful things that they're doing. Usually those are the worst people I've ever met. So whatever. Okay. Anyway, we also get poet in reverse here. So we're going to look at the shadow attributes. And so we might meet one of these poets or you might become one. So either beware or be careful. Shadow attribute says turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. So it's super interesting that we get the Avenger and the poet in a bad thing. This is going to tell me that make sure you're not one of those preachy people that's so wonderful and you have to tell everybody how great you are, or how you're avenging everything and how you're going to fix the world because you know how everybody else should live. So, okay. I think that we are going to leave it at that. Take a peek at this. I would love to know how any of this came out for you guys, at the end of next week. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am forever grateful for everybody that watches my videos. I just love doing this. So thank you so much for going along this journey with me. I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a great week. Although it's going to be a little anxiety ridden, but that's what we're here for. So have a great one. And I will see you guys next week.